It is day 9 of the war in the Middle East, with the United States and Israel continuing their strikes inside Iran. In a major escalation, oil storage depots and refining facilities in Tehran were hit, with new attacks sparking fires across the capital. Some of the oil from those facilities is now spilling into the city's sewage system, igniting what witnesses there describe as a river of fire. The Iranian oil ministry has confirmed fuel depots were hit in 3 areas of the country, and the Iranian Red Crescent is now warning rainfall following the explosions could be toxic, raising the risk of chemical burns and lung damage to anyone who's exposed. Here's what else we're tracking this morning. Flames tearing through a Kuwaiti government building in the early hours this morning following an Iranian drone strike. At least 16 were killed in Lebanon after Israel renewed its assault on Beirut and southern Lebanon. Israel says it was targeting key commanders of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Foreign Operations Arm. And Iran's IRGC says this morning that they have enough munitions to fight an intense war for at least 6 months, adding they haven't yet used their most advanced missiles. The clerical body tasked with choosing the next supreme leader has reportedly reached a majority consensus. A member of that assembly said they based the to-be-announced decision on the late Ayatollah's advice that Iran's top leader should be, quote, hated by the enemy. Let's get straight to Crystal Gumansing, who's been reporting in the Middle East since the war started, and she is with us this morning from Jerusalem. Crystal, what do we know about these latest attacks in Iran and throughout the region?
Well, Linda, let's start with those major attacks on at least 5 Iranian oil storage sites. Those were hit overnight, resulting in a lot of images of big fireballs, thick plumes of black smoke consuming the air. Israeli officials are also saying that they targeted F-14 fighter jets. Those were hit around Isfahan. Israel Defense Forces spokesperson Brigadier General Effie Defrin saying that in total, Israel has conducted 3,400 strikes across Iran, dropping 7,500 munitions. In the past 24 hours, they say the majority of the attacks have been on western Tehran and central Tehran. So there is a concentration of attacks right now in Iran. But let's branch out a little bit further and talk about the strikes by Iran on their Persian Gulf neighbors, neighbors that, of course, host American military bases. Officials in Kuwait say that 2 individuals have been killed. No specifics have been given about those deaths. Kuwaiti Interior Ministry has made the announcement saying that they were performing their duties. And there's also some information coming out of the UAE by the Ministry of Defense saying that several people were also killed there today. We do know that in many of these locations, including the UAE, air defense systems are active. They have been trying to engage and shoot down any incoming projectiles, a number coming across today, including different missiles and drones. So that part of the story is ongoing, with a number of those nations actively trying to keep their airspace safe. The other major front that we are keeping an eye on is, of course, Lebanon. We know that there has been an aggressive exchange between the Iranian proxy, Hezbollah, and Israel. There has been ongoing airstrikes, deadly airstrikes, not only in the capital Beirut, but, of course, in the southern communities of Lebanon. There were multiple evacuation orders issued by Israelis for areas not only in the south, but, of course, the capital. So very active day still, and a lot of concern specifically on those oil storage depots that were hit last night, Linda.
And Crystal, it's been more than a week since U.S. Israeli strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, and now there are some early reports this morning that a new person has been chosen. What do we know so far?
Yeah, so this is the Iranian Assembly of Experts. That's the group that's responsible for choosing a new supreme leader. They've only had to do this once before, and there was some early reporting from Reuters news agency saying that there was a consensus that a new leader was in fact chosen. It is unclear exactly who that leader is. A part of this could be that we have already heard from Israeli officials saying that whoever the new leader is, they have vowed to kill that new leader, just as they did the past leader, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in the early days of this war. So there is a suggestion that there is consensus on the new leader, but they haven't named that individual as of yet. It could also be that the organization who selects the leader has not actually met in person to come together for the selection. So we are watching that. It is a rapidly changing part of this story, but we are paying close attention to it. Like I said, Israeli officials have already put out the announcement saying they will continue to target the regime, the leadership, and that includes any new supreme leader that is selected. In the meantime, Linda, we're also paying attention to what's coming out of the U.S. U.S. President Donald Trump last night on board Air Force One was asked specifically about what happens next here and the idea, the potential of ground troops. American ground troops did come back up. The question was asked, but this time the president did not outright say no. Take a listen to what he said.
Could there be? Possibly, for very good reason. Have to be very good reason. And I would say if we ever did that, they would be so decimated that they wouldn't be able to fight at the ground level.
Now, as you said, Linda, we did hear from Iranian officials saying that they are prepared to keep fighting potentially for months here. We do know that yesterday and over the weekend we heard from Israeli officials saying this would continue at least for a couple of weeks. So no clear indication as to when the hostilities may come to an end.
Crystal, thanks very much for this. That's Crystal Gomansing in Jerusalem. Now, as Crystal mentioned, Israel continues its attacks on Lebanon with overnight strikes hitting Beirut's city center and the southern suburbs. Video shows smoke billowing from the rubble of destroyed buildings in the south following back-to-back airstrikes. Hours earlier, at least 4 people were reportedly killed when an Israeli strike hit the Ramada hotel in central Beirut. This attack marked the first Israeli strike to hit the heart of Beirut since hostilities between Israel and the militant group Hezbollah resumed last week. For more on this, let's go to CBC's Julia Chapman. She's been following all of this in London. Julia, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Linda, officials in Beirut say that this explosion at the Ramada hotel happened shortly after midnight local time, claiming the lives of 4 people and injuring 10 others, including children. Reportedly, there were displaced people staying in this hotel, many people displaced from different areas of the country and even internally in Beirut because of the renewed hostilities between Hezbollah and Israel. Israel says it was targeting Iranian commanders operating inside Lebanon. They've issued evacuation warnings again this morning for areas south of the Litani River in southern Lebanon. And the health authorities in Lebanon say since Monday, when these strikes began, the back and forth, 394 people have been killed inside Lebanon, including 83 children. The demand from Israel is that the government in Lebanon do more to ensure that Hezbollah disarms so that it is no longer a threat to Israel. It was Hezbollah that launched the first strike from Lebanese territory on Monday after the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in Iran. Now, the government has taken some steps this week. It has declared Hezbollah military activities illegal. It said it would deport Revolutionary Guard members, and it has detained 26 Lebanese nationals for illegally possessing weapons. But it faces a really difficult tightrope because it also wants to, of course, avoid any further an additional civil war in Lebanon.
And Julie, we're also following the situation facing hundreds of thousands of people who've been displaced in Lebanon since Israel renewed strikes on the country. What can you tell us about the humanitarian situation in particular?
It is certainly deteriorating. This was a country just getting back on its feet after the last war with Israel ended in 2024. Now, yesterday, we heard from the authorities saying that 454,000 people have been registered as internally displaced since Monday alone. They are adding to the number of people who were already displaced in previous conflicts, as well as more than 1 million refugees that are being hosted in Lebanon. There is also an economic crisis in the country. 80% of people live in poverty. The medical system is decimated. Education is sporadic. So this is a really difficult situation in the country, which looks set to only get worse as this war continues.
The CBC's Julia Chapman reporting in London.